Did you know that early interactions between a mother and a child can deeply affect how a kid responds to stressful situations during adolescent years and in early teens? Scientists observed more than 8,000 mothers and children born in 90s. They discovered that teenagers with mothers who demonstrated personality traits associated with emotional and relationship difficulties were more likely to experience depression, social anxiety, and the urge to self-harm. In addition to this, a mother's mental health can also decide the type of custody a parent gets. If a mother's mental state doesn't allow her to maintain safe living quarters for a child, they might not get physical custody. According to research conducted by Bristol University, teenagers are at a greater risk of being depressed growing up if their mothers are aggressive, suspicious, or detached during their childhood. In fact, a mother's behavior towards a 12-month-old child can actually alter genes that are in control of regulating responses during stressful situations. Although it clearly indicates that how a person reacts to stress as an adult depends on factors during his or her infancy, the mechanism behind this has always been unclear. However, in today's video, we will discover the link between a mother's behavior toward her child and the molecular processes that take place in an infant's brain that can shape a child's personality. In a study published in the American Journal of Human Biology, scientists observed 114 mother-infant pairs and paid close attention to how their mother behaved or interacted with them while reading a storybook. The same 114 children were called in for blood work 7 years later. While looking at the blood's epigenetic data, the molecular processing influencing gene behavior, they discovered a clear distinction between the biology of kids who were exposed to warm treatment and those who were not. 7-year-old kids who were exposed to cold behavior as babies showed methylation in their blood. Methylation is another name for epigenetic changes. These changes affected the NR3C1 gene in kids at age 7. This gene is actively responsible for stimulating responses during emotionally or physically stressful conditions. It also regulates and triggers cortisol, which is a stress hormone and activates the flight or fight response in your body. These findings suggest that even minor emotional or social influences during infancy can affect your genes and your personality as an adult. However, the real question is, what are negative behavioral traits in a mother that have devastating effects on a child's brain? To understand this, you must first grasp the significance of a mother-infant relationship. It is one of the most important relationships in a child's life and plays a huge role in their social, emotional, and cognitive development. Not only is it important, but it is also the first ever relationship a child may experience. Early interactions between a mother and a child also establish an attachment style and the ability to form emotional bonds. An ideal mother-child relationship is based on warmth, sensitivity, and empathy. Mothers are also more emotional and responsive than fathers. However, it's not always like this. A dysfunctional mother-child relationship can have negative consequences. According to a 2009 study, infants with depressed mothers are less socially active and experience more negative emotions. Although mothers who suffer from depression and anxiety can still get a child's custody, the severity of symptoms can compel the judge of change custody later on. For instance, if your mental health affects your decision-making abilities, you might not get legal custody for your child. Mothers who are emotionally distant, neglectful, and abusive can develop an insecure attachment style in a child, which can lead to depression, anxiety, aggression, and trust issues in their later lives. In this video, we will tell you some common ways a mother's mental health and behavior can impact a child's personality. For instance, did you know that mothers can literally change their children's brains? A mother's positive behavior can quite literally change the size of their child's brain. The impact of a healthy mother-child relationship isn't only limited to emotional state, but it also affects children physically. A 2021 study examined the minds of school-going kids and discovered that children who were positively supported by their mothers had a larger hippocampus than those who were not. A hippocampus is a part of your brain that is embedded deep in the temporal lobe. It is associated with a lot of significant brain functions like learning and memory. However, the hippocampus is also a very vulnerable part of your brain, which can be damaged early in your life if you experience emotional abuse as a kid. In fact, studies point out that individuals suffering from PTSD have a smaller hippocampus. These physical changes aren't only limited to children's brains. Positive emotional connections can also form a mega network in the mom's brain. In 2020, a study was published in the journal Neuroimage, which highlighted how mothers having a positive emotional state are more mentally connected to their babies. This means that they can understand what their babies need. Researchers found Think Unusual link by scanning the brains of infants and their mothers using a method called dual electroencephalography. And this is not it. A mother's voice also activates a child's brain. It's surprising how a mother's presence and emotional being can affect a child's psychology and personality. Brain scans of children show that kids prefer their mom's voice over the other voices. When you talk to your kid, it activates their brain, and this goes for both toddlers and infants. Even at an early age, when they are unable to understand or distinguish between voices, they respond better to their mother's voice. Mothers who talk aggressively to their kids can stimulate negative emotions in their child's brains. This way, the kid will associate their voice with stress and trauma, which can lead to anxiety, fear, and low self-esteem as they start to grow up. Dysfunctional mother-child relationships can develop negative attachment styles. If a child is emotionally supported and treated with warmth, he will feel comfortable and confident in his environment. He will also develop a secure attachment style. A secure attachment style allows kids to trust their mothers and build a positive relationship. On the other hand, if a mother is neglectful or inconsistent with taking care of a child, it can lead to an anxious or ambivalent attachment style. In this type of attachment style, kids are confused by the irregular love and care that they receive. They also start to mistrust strangers and become silent and non-responsive. In cases where a mother is considered an unreliable caregiver, the judge might not them the custody. Another common negative attachment style is the avoidant attachment style. A child might try to resist instructions given by the mother in this case. Keep in mind that all these attachment styles don't change as they grow up. If a kid develops an insecure attachment style with their mother, he or she is very likely to be insecure in their future relationships as well. And worst of all, how a mother behaves can also affect a child's social abilities. Yes, mothers who provide their children with love, attention, care, and support can foster a healthy relationship that leads the kid to believe that he or she is protected. On the other hand, if mothers are neglectful and emotionally distant, it can trigger a negative feeling in them. They will feel like they have no real connection with people, and as a result, they will either try to gain attention through bizarre tactics, or they will fall back into a box of isolation. This won't only make your child depressed, but it can also lead to an endless cycle of emotional abuse. Although not every neglectful mother has been emotionally abused in her childhood, it is true more often than not. If a mother is emotionally abused, chances are she is going to repeat the same thing with her child. However, this is changing as people become more aware of healthy parenting styles. Parents need to adopt a healthy parenting style to help their child's emotional, social, and cognitive development. Your mental health also plays an important role when it comes to laws regarding child's custody. If your mental doesn't allow you properly take care of your child or step out of the house, the judge might take the custody from you. While parenting is a combined duty of both mother and father, studies prove that a child is more mentally and emotionally connected to a mother. A mother-child relationship is just special. It is one of the most important and beautiful relationships that is built on trust, warmth, and unconditional love. Mothers should educate themselves and learn about things that they can or cannot say to their infants. It's important to talk to kids in a soft voice and make them feel loved. This is it for today's video. If you have watched this far, feel free to comment down below and let us know what you think about this. Meanwhile, hit the thumbs up button and subscribe to our channel for more such videos.